Hello and welcome to Couple of Instigators. I am in a mood. I have Jen and I have Lauren again today. You guys, I've just been on like a whole like rampage before I hit record, so I've calmed down.
One of those days.
Oh, it's just like one thing after another. You know, do you ever have those, like every little thing pisses you off? Like I completely feel like I haven't taken my meds in 6 weeks.
Yes, every day.
Like I walked into work this morning and the minute I walked in, they all looked at me and were like, what's wrong? Like I must have had that I'm going to cut a bitch look on my face from like the minute I stepped out of my house. I don't know what's wrong. Nothing's wrong. I don't know. Something. Now they're getting me more mad because they're like, something is wrong. But I don't know. I just must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. And then when I'm aggravated, I just like continue to go on the internet and read things that just make me even more aggravated. Then I had on Fox News and I was getting more. I think I do this to myself.
Probably.
Do you guys ever like do this to yourself too? Like Cindy.
I think there's definitely people that like draw the crazy to them, and I think that's a bit of you. You just have that force field magnet that's like.
Well, today was probably not a good day for me to even listen to Fox News, you know, because I like, you know.
Today is never a good day to listen to
today. Well, today was Cindy. Push number 4 on the radio, you know, and put back on CNN because you are going to blow a fucking gasket. So here I am. So I was okay. We're going to talk about The Bachelor, and that put me in a really bad mood, Lauren. I mean, the ending of The Bachelor towards like, you know, within the last 10 to 15 minutes, I started to get mad. I started to feel, because we all know, like, all right, we've been kind of like chatting up about The Bachelor. Jen, you don't really still watch that at all, right? Okay, I know I can't talk you into that.
Probably the first season.
Now is probably like the worst time to probably try to start because I think it's like shit the bed now. But so the whole racist thing with he had picked a like a white girl was his final pick, although she's half Latina, right?
One of her dad's parents is.
I mean, her father looks very Latina to me. Like he totally looks ethnic the minute you look at him. Like my first thought was, oh, what is he? You know what I mean? I thought, well, is he like Indian or is he, you know what I mean? He just like, you know, he's definitely
he's a white guy.
He's a brown skinned dude. Okay. He's not like a Lily White. Okay. And Rachel almost does have, you know, it's, you know, I mean, she looks like her dad too, right? The girl. So anyway, The Bachelor was a black man and he picked her. And then during their like quarantine where no one knows who got picked, it came out that she had posted these, you know, this racist pictures of herself at Antebellum.
It was basically like a fraternity formal event where they dressed up like Scarlett O'Hara and there's Confederate flags and Confederate dressed military uniforms just as decoration. So
right. So the guy, yeah. Well, the bottom line we learned as the show progressed last night that this guy is an a-hole, not ready to commit, should have never been on that show to begin with. And I started to feel like he was using the fact that she had posted these photos as a reason to dump her. But as it was going on and on, it was more apparent that he didn't want to be with her, period. And I felt like he was using this as an escape to get out of being with this poor kid. I don't know. That was what I felt. I felt like she really suffered the punishment after sitting there last night with them. She suffered. I think she pretty much, yeah. And he claimed that Rachel I mean, Hannah is his best friend, who is a past bachelor, who's been accused of a lot of racist stuff too. So my thought after I started thinking is like, well, Hannah's his best friend, and did more race. I think what she did, her racist stuff was worse.
What did she do?
She was rapping a song on an Instagram live video, and she like said the N-word. It's part of the song, but she said it
the front door.
With her friend. So, and then she waited 5 days to apologize. And
also, she went to the same type of ball as Rachel.
And then she also like 8 years ago went to similar sort of events.
Right.
Oh, okay, let's take a break for a sec. Are we judging like basically teenagers what they did 8 years ago?
Well, it was 3 years ago, number one.
Rachel, yeah.
Okay, so what? So she's like what, 22, 23 now?
God, I don't know. She looks like she's 12. How old is she, Lauren?
4, maybe.
Okay.
I just don't know that like a 21-year-old at college, if you can judge their life on what they did.
Well,
give them, and I'm not going to say grace, but you have to allow them to learn. Like,
right.
She has to be able to learn that like that is not right. Like that's a celebration of slavery in that history of the South, and that isn't okay. And learn that that's not something she wants to be a part of going forward.
Right.
And I think that she sort of
between saying the N-word and dressing up in a costume. Like,
well, it was a ball gown.
A ball gown costume at that. Like, she didn't dress up as like a Nazi soldier, or she didn't dress up in blackface. You know what I mean? Like,
but the point though, Jen, is that it is that the ball she went to in general, the whole premise of that is very racist. Now,
of slavery, basically.
Mm-hmm. Like, I've told you last time my thoughts on people getting married at plantations. I think it's just garbage. But now we read everybody that got married at a plantation and say, well, you're just garbage people.
Thank you. Right.
You should have been canceled for doing that because it was gross. Like, I not a line, but and maybe she's done more stuff, but I don't know that the girl should get canceled over something like that.
Well, so the other piece that I actually kind of forgotten for a while because we haven't heard about it on the show is that there's a girl or multiple girls in high school who claimed that when they were in high school, this girl actually bullied them.
The same one, the
dating,
girl?
Yeah, the girl who won the Bachelorette or Bachelor. She bullied other girls in high school for dating black men.
Whoa.
So that in combination.
Right. But we don't have proof, number one.
We don't have proof.
And I do feel like that girl, the Rachel girl, could be a target for her little friends of meanness. Or, I mean, it could have definitely happened. I don't know. But I felt like the way she sat, number one, Lauren, I would have got to hand it to her for even going out there and sitting on that couch. Right there.
I mean, you're walking out into the...
Thank you. So, and then we were on the little chat group and they were all kind of making fun, which really pissed me off, is that she was breaking out in hives. You could blatantly see her getting a rash from nerves while she was sitting there getting fucking berated. And I was like, no, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's just young and dumb and just went out there. I don't know.
I think she is. There's also been a lot of commentary I've seen today about and last night, how she, like, even when Matt kind of like pressed her for or Emmanuel Acho pressed her for what work she is doing, she was like, I'm reading books.
I mean, but then what does she know? But then when they asked her, did it leave you? Did you sit awake at night worrying about those photos during the show? And she's like, no, not at all, because I didn't. Like, she didn't. I'm telling you, I feel like it was like her friends were like, we're going to get dressed up, we're going to wear a pretty dress, and that
100%.
We're going to wear a pretty dress, and this is all. I mean, I don't know. I felt like she paid for it dearly. I think like
be able to grow and move on. You can't just say like you did this when you were 20.
Right.
It's over for you. So I think it's okay to hold her accountable going forward. Like you know better.
But the way he like broke up with her because she was a racist and that's next level. Like if you
couldn't get over the feelings after he saw the photos, that was a little much.
People get cheated on. They like. It could. I don't know. I felt like the punishment didn't fit the crime. Like he dumped her. She got canceled. It was all very harsh. And then when he said to hug her.
Oh God, that was one of the most awkward things. After they had their conversation and they both did interviews, the host said, and granted, it was his first time as a Bachelor host, and I think he did great outside of the like Bachelor culture stuff. And he said, do you want to give her do you guys want to have a final embrace? You may never see each other again? Like, they're sitting on the sofa, like a 2-person sofa, like with a little distance between them. They hugged when she came out or he came out.
Yeah. But
like,
then, right.
Why
and then
put them on the spot and ask if they want to embrace after such an awkward conversation? They broke up.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know how editing works, but it was very uncomfortable, but I felt like she was trying to hold his hand. She was trying to like look him right in the eyes. I thought that she came off as, I don't know. I just felt, honestly, he looked bad. I think they gave him an edit where he came out looking like shit. And I don't know. I don't think they could have fixed that edit, Lauren, because he's an asshole.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, especially even in the finale before we got to the interview.
Yes.
He was like, I don't know what to do. I can't decide.
Oh, let's talk about how he dumped Michelle and then refused to see her.
He dumps the sweet baby angel perfect girl.
Yes.
And
who is also a person of color who would have completely understood his plight as a black man, which was another thing. I'm like, don't even get me started, Matt, when he was like, you don't know what it's like, you don't know what I've gone through as a black man. You don't know to her. And I thought, well, you didn't pick the person who did know, Matt.
Yeah.
So that kind of pissed me off too, because I was like, you're judging her. You had enough. He spent enough time with her to understand. He could have asked her more questions. And found out, like, what does she know about being with a black man? What do you know about raising black children someday? Like, that's a conversation that they should have had.
Questions you would have if you're in a potential, like a biracial relationship.
Yeah.
And you plan to get married.
Yes. So I feel like editing really, also they did edit out the part where Michelle asked to see him and she sat down on that couch and brought it up. And I'm like, oh, funny. That would have been huge drama before this, right? Oh,
that
Michelle.
Really bad. I think that was the first sign of the interview section of last night that made him look bad. Like, when it was exposed that, and this happens like every season, someone gets dumped and then they surprise and show up at a pivotal moment and it's like drama for an hour. Mm-hmm. And instead they just cut it out. And
they probably did to be, because they didn't want Matt to look that bad.
Or because they aired 54 minutes of commercials last night. Shout out to Bachelor Data.
And how long was the show?
This information, 54 minutes out of 3 hours was just commercials.
Wow.
Full hour commercials.
Yeah. And the numbers came out. They lost 1 million viewers last night.
Yeah. So
and you know what?
5 million. And
and it's not for, you know what? I don't even care that if they don't hire back Chris Harris. I'm not someone who's like, oh, the show's nothing without. It's not that at all. For me, that show has so many other problems besides the race issue. They have no one that's over a size 2. Nobody who's really ready to be married. It's all a bunch of 24-year-old girls who are trying to become Insta famous. And